Save Act Critique, AnCap-Objectivist Rejection, a Trojan Horse to legitimize an illegitimate state. From an anarcho-capitalist, ANCAP, and objectivist lens, the SAVE Act, Safeguard American Voter Eligibility, Save American Act, is fundamentally flawed, not because it might suppress votes, a statist framing, but because it operates entirely within and thereby reinforces the coercive apparatus of the state itself. Quick recap of the bill. It amends the National Voter Registration Act to require documentary proof of U.S. citizenship, passport, birth certificate, specific real ID compliant docs showing birthplace, citizenship, military papers, etc., often in person, for anyone registering or updating registration for federal elections. It adds photo ID to cast a ballot, preempts state flexibility, forces audits, purges of rolls, imposes penalties on officials, and allows private lawsuits against them. Current law already bans non-citizen voting, with perjury attestation. Non-citizen incidents are vanishingly rare. Core principles of the lens. ANCAP, Rothbard, Hoppe, voluntary strain. The state is an illegitimate monopoly on initiated force. No one may coerce peaceful people. Democracy is mob rule or illusory consent. Voting legitimizes rulers who tax, regulate, and conscript. True order arises from private property contracts and competing defense agencies. Objectivism, Ayn Rand, rights are objective: life, liberty, property. Government is a strictly delimited night watchman. Police, courts, military only, to retaliate against force. Voting is merely a procedural tool within a rights-protecting republic, not a primary right or epistemological validator. Majority may never vote away individual rights. The right to vote is a consequence, not a primary cause of a free social system. A hybrid anarcho-capitalist objectivist takes Rand's uncompromising individualism and anti-altruism, but rejects her minarchist compromise, pushing to full stateless capitalism. What's wrong with the SAVE Act under this lens? Number one, it presupposes and sanctifies the state's electoral monopoly. The bill fixes who may participate in coercing everyone else. ANCAP sees this as a theater. Non-citizens voting is irrelevant when citizens are already aggressed upon daily via taxes and laws. Improving the franchise makes the racket look more legitimate, encouraging people to play the game instead of withdrawing consent, succession, agorism, parallel institutions. Objectivism would note that voting power must be delimited by rights first. Tinkering with registration procedures does nothing to shrink the sphere in which voters may act. Number two, it expands federal coercion and bureaucracy. Preempts states, mandates in-person docs, creates a new federal crime penalties for officials, enables citizens' laws against them, forces database audits, relies on real ID-style documents, precisely what Ron Paul and libertarians condemned as a de facto national ID system that treats every citizen as a suspect who must prove eligibility to the state. This initiates force against peaceful individuals, hassle, cost, name-match barriers for married women, elderly, rural people, to protect a process that shouldn't exist in its current form. Rand warned against any expansion that dilutes rights protection. This centralizes more power in D.C. Number three, it inverts rights. You must petition the aggressor for permission to vote. Objectivism, rights precede government. You do not earn political voice by satisfying the state's paperwork. ANCAP, there is no right to vote on how to rule others, only the right to defend one's property voluntarily, requiring birth certificates or passports to influence who wields guns, and prisons against you is grotesque. It treats citizenship as a state-granted privilege rather than a non-issue in voluntary society. 4. It distracts from the real problem. The root evil is involuntary government, not who gets to pull the lever. SAVE Act fuels the culture war sideshow, election integrity, while the state grows unchecked. AnCap would say, privatize everything, defense, arbitration, roads, then voting becomes customer choice in competing governance firms. Objectivists would prioritize repealing the warfare state and constitutional limits over procedural tweaks that don't shrink government scope. Number 5. Even on its own terms, it contradicts the philosophies. Objectivism rejects unlimited majority rule in any measure that burdens rational individuals without necessity. AnCap rejects franchise restrictions as half measure. HOPA favored covenant communities with strict entry but still stateless. SAVE doesn't go to property owner or taxpayer only voting. It adds red tape to universal citizen suffrage. Bottom line, from this lens, the SAVE Act is not election integrity, it's statist theater that makes the prison warden's ballot box look fairer while tightening the bars. It increases initiated force, entrenches the illusion of consent, and diverts energy from abolition, AnCap, or radical delimitation. Objectivists towards the patching a broken machine. The proper stance, ignore or oppose such bills on principle, while advocating full voluntarism, private property absolutism, where association, defense, and dispute resolutions are contractual, not territorial monopoly. Voting reforms are symptoms. The disease is the state. Exploring agorism as alternative. Agorism is the strategic praxis that makes the AnCap-Objectivist rejection of the state and its distractions like the SAVE Act actionable right now, not by petitioning, opposing, or fixing the machine, but starving it through consistent, voluntary market action. What agorism actually is, from the source. Samuel Edward Kitkin III, laid out in the New Libertarian Manifesto of 1980. Goal, agora, a society where all relations are voluntary exchanges, pure free market, no coercion, no territorial monopoly. Agora, anarchy, action. Means, counter-economics. Every economic act not approved, sanctioned by the state. Black market, fully illegal. Gray, semi-legal or unregulated, and even white market activities done without feeding the beast, e.g. cash deals, barter, crypto. Revolution. Not violent overthrow, not ballots, not limited government reforms. The counter-economy grows until the state's moral authority and revenue collapse. Then private defense, arbitration agencies finish the job by treating taxation as theft and the state as a criminal gang. Konkin explicitly rejected partiarchy, libertarian party-style politics, and any engagement that legitimizes the state. He split from pure Rothbardian AnCap by insisting on immediate consistency. Talk and walk the NAP 100% today, or you're just another minarchist waiting for the right rulers. As direct alternative to SAVE Act, election theater. The SAVE Act debate, citizenship proof, ID, federal preemption, is peak statism. It assumes the state's electoral monopoly is worth securing. It demands you petition the aggressor, provide docs to vote on who aggresses better. It keeps energy inside the Overton window instead of exiting it. Algorithm response, ignore the lever entirely. Why argue over who gets to pull it when you can stop feeding the box? Voting, even against, signals consent and sustains the illusion. Opposing the bill in Congress or courts still recognizes the state's jurisdiction over eligibility to rule you. Instead, withdraw consent economically. The state derives power from your compliance, taxes, regulated labor, fiat, licensed services. Starve that. The integrity of its ballots becomes irrelevant. As SEK3 put it, all who fail if for no other reason than liberty grows individual by individual. This aligns perfectly with the hybrid lens. AnCap, Rothbard, Hoppe, the state is illegitimate. Parallel institutions, DROs, private law replace it. Agorism supplies the how without waiting for Revolution Day. Objectivists, Rand radicalized, reason, self-interest, and productivity for sacrificing your life energy to the collective ritual elections. Rand's right to vote is a consequence of freedom becomes literal. Live free first, the vote evaporates as unnecessary. The hybrid drops Rand's minarchist compromise entirely. Practical algorithm in 2026 already happening. Counter economics isn't theory, it's scalable today. Crypto and money, Bitcoin, Monroe, privacy coins, decentralized exchanges, on-chain stable coins, tokenized assets by past banks, KYC, capital controls, inflation, theft. Peer-to-peer value transfer without reporting. Venezuela, Nigeria examples scaled globally. Tokenized RWAs and DEFI rails are gray and black market infrastructures. Labor services, unlicensed trades, gig work-off books, mutual aid networks, homeschool, unschool co-ops, private arbitration, smart contracts and reputation, encrypted comms apps for deals. Goods and production, gray market manufacturing, 3D printing bypass IP regulations, local barter, cryptocurrency, circles, encrypted e-commerce. Defense and law, private security, insurance pools, reputation markets, prediction markets for dispute resolution, already eroding state monopoly faster than any bill could. The four-stage path, Konkin. Number 1, awareness plus small counter-economic acts. Number 2, full-time counter-economy. Number 3, counter-institutions, visible and competing. 4, state collapse under irrelevance, agora supplants it. Strengths in the AnCap-Objectivist lens, pure consistency. Ends, stateless voluntarism, equals means, voluntary acts. No libertarian ends via statist means. Empirical. Black, gray markets already dwarf state economies in many sectors. Crypto alone has created trillions in ungovernable value. Individualist. No waiting for majority, no vanguard party, no culture war sideshows, one rational egoist at a time. Anti-altruist. You profit, risk benefit, while shrinking the aggressor. Perfect Randian self-interest plus Rothbardian NAP. Frank weakness, counterpoints within the lens. Risk of state retaliation, raids, asset seizure, but that's true of any real resistance. Algorithm minimizes by staying decentralized and using tech, encryption, confrontation. Some purists call it not distinct enough from AnCap or too left via class theory, status class versus market class. But the hybrid discards leftist baggage and keeps the strategy. Scalability critique. Can it handle large infrastructure? Answer in lens, markets plus innovation already do. See crypto's growth despite this 2025-2026 regulations. Private firms outperform state roads, courts historically. Objectivist purists might balk at illegal evasion, but once you accept the state has no rights, evasion is self-defense, not immorality. Bottom line, algorithm is not another ideology. It's the tactical implementation of full voluntarist AnCap objectivism against distractions like save. Stop playing chess with the warden. Build the free city in the ruins by trading, producing, and associating outside his rules. The election machine withers when no one shows up to legitimize it or reform it. Live in Agora today. The state ends not with a bang or a better ballot, but with 1,000 voluntary trades it can no longer tax or control. That's the consistent, productive, rights-respecting path. Thank you for watching today's video, and see you in the next video.